this morning on your Instagram, you put up a post of you getting into the ice bath, and you use the word chaos of when you get in, or what anybody gets in, I should say. And the idea for me, because I'm going to use the example of the cryo bath that I was getting into recently for recovery purposes. Um, it's awful, right? It's very, very difficult when you do it for the first time or the second time, whatever.
Yeah.
But when you're getting into it, because you use the word chaos, but then and it's really interesting when you spell it out for people, I think, because when you put up your post and you write underneath it, you say the words chaos, but then you talk about the calm that comes after,
Mhm.
and you can actually see that because you've told us what
Yeah.
it is. I can see that on your face
Yeah.
from when you get in, and it's pretty quick. But when did this um when did this all start for you with the cold water kind of experiment?
Yeah. As a teenager, I used to swim in the sea at High Rock between Portmarnock and Malahide. Now, of course, at that stage, I didn't have any idea about the benefits of it. It was
Yeah.
just myself and my friends loved jumping off the High Rock into the water and then being freezing and jumping back out again, But it always stuck with me, that feeling of being in the water and that freezing cold part of it. And then, over the years, I went from basketball to martial arts, and from martial arts into meditation and yoga and breathing, and I was always looking for these ways of improving how we felt naturally. I was kind of obsessed with this idea of, for you and I to be here talking on this great podcast. Our ancestors evolved over millions and millions of years, and all the way along that, they were able to look after themselves to varying degrees. And I was obsessed with the idea of how did they do it before we had all this technology. So that led me down some very interesting paths about how to use wild plants around us as medicine, and how to use breathing and things like that. And then when I heard Wim Hof speaking then on a podcast, and he was talking about the combination of breathing and the cold.
Mm.
It had been two separate things in my life. It had been breathing over here, pranayama breathing, qigong breathing, and it had been jumping in the sea trying to figure it out over here.
Mm.
And when Wim talked about bringing both of them together, that was where, in my mind, it's like somebody putting the last piece of the jigsaw puzzle together. It all made sense for me then. All the 20 years previous made sense to me, trying to figure all this out. And the combination between from the outside, the combination of breathing and the cold could seem like, oh, what's this kind of latest fad? We're taking breathing and cold, we're sticking them together. What I've learned over the years is that it's probably the most fundamental relationship we have as humans. So when we're in the womb, it's beautiful and warm. We're safe. Our lungs aren't working. Our mother is breathing for us. Oxygen and CO2 are going in and out through the placenta. All of a sudden, when we come out and we're born, it's the shock of the colds on our skin that triggers our first breath,
Mhm.
which changes everything in the lungs and the heart. And that first interaction between ourselves and the cold is the thing that starts our breathing.
Mm.
And when I understood that, then I understood how important it is as the cold as a teacher. The cold taught us how to live at the very beginning. We took this big breath. And if we go back to the cold as a teacher, there's more and more to learn there.
Mm.
And it's teaching us how to breathe. It's teaching us how to find calm and control in the chaos. Like when you've
Mm.
been in the cold, when a person jumps into the sea, all you have to do is go to any beach. You hear people screaming. It's chaotic, it's shocking, it's fearful, it's painful. But within that, if we can find our breath and we can begin to slow it down and exhale slowly, a whole chain reaction begins in the body. Vagus nerve activates, heart rate drops, body starts to feel calm, we start to feel safe, and we start to adapt in the cold. And in that process, the body starts to transform, the mind starts to transform. And the cold is what teaches us that.